Hello, everybody. Welcome to our big hit meal prep this afternoon. This is my beautiful assistant, Jennifer, today. She is helping me get organized with everything. So we're going to show you how to make 7 quick meals for a big meal prep. Now, each one of these recipes that we are preparing for you can be made to for phase 1 all the way through phase 4 with just some simple additions. So if you're cooking for more than just one, easily adapted so you're just not cooking separate meals for everybody. This ties in with your meal planning and grocery shopping. So once you do your grocery shopping and you come home with all your groceries, if you set aside an hour or two, then you can get a week's worth of suppers made. And if you're doing one, so we're going to just show you a single serving of each one, but you'll get the idea of when you're building these ones singly, you can either double, triple, quadruple the recipes to have it done. All the meals that we're going to make today freeze really well. So we are going to, these are these awesome containers that can go in the fridge, freezer, dishwasher. It's as simple as doing an assembly line, putting them in here and storing them for you. So we're just gonna get started and
I'm taking a head start.
Yeah, yes. So you can buy, so we're getting groceries, when we do grocery shopping tours or meal planning, we will show you spice blends that you can buy already prepared, but today we're making our own spice blends, and the reason why is that that's just ensuring if you're in phase 1, we're not going to give you any extra sugars or carbs from your spices, and just show you how easy it is just to make your own, and they can be used in multiple recipes as well. So we're just going to get started. We are going to start with Southwest meatballs, and I chose to make them with lean ground turkey. You can do it with lean ground beef as well. And really super lean ground pork if that's available to you. A little bit harder to find, but it is such a thing. I'm using an egg yolk or egg white, sorry, in this recipe. If I was at home, I would put this egg yolk in a little covered container because I have a lot of muffin and other recipes that egg yolk can go into so that you don't have to waste it. That's awesome, thank you. I'm really messy too, by the way, and that's just how it's going to be. In our meatballs, we are going to hide a little bit of veggies. So instead of using crumbs and a lot of other ingredients for binder, because ground protein does not need crumbs for binding. Perfectly okay if you want to add it for flavor, but you don't need it for binding. So we are going to put some grated radish and some grated cauliflower inside our meatballs. They're going to make them nice and juicy and add a little bit of the radishes and a little bit of peppery flavor.
Also a great way to hide your vegetables.
Super way to hide your vegetables. So if you are a client who has a tough time reaching your vegetable goals, it's a great way to get them in there. So in my meat, I am going to, we're going to cheat a little bit today just for time's sakes. But this isn't wrong, just so that you all know at home. I'm going to use pre-done garlic, and a teaspoon is going to be about 1 large garlic clove. So we're going to put that in there, and then I am going to put, I like spice. So you guys are all going to get to taste this. So do you guys like it spicy or not so spicy?
Kind of in the middle.
In the middle. So this is the best part of seasoning. When you make your own seasoning blend, you can simply just store this in a nice little glass container. If it cakes together a little bit, that's okay. It's a good sign. There's nothing wrong with it. It just means that there's no additives or preservatives in your spices. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put 2 tablespoons in here. You could add more or add less to suit your taste. That is really, yes. So in our Southwest seasoning, you can read your list there for everybody on camera. I think everybody has the recipes that's on camera, right? Right. So just never mind me. So I'm gonna start making our meatballs, and when I start, we're gonna serve them over cauliflower rice. You don't have to cook your cauliflower rice, or you can just saute it real quick in a pan. Now, when you're working with whole protein, I didn't use any oil in the batter. You could saute these meatballs in the pan with a tiny bit of oil, or if you're using non-stick nonstick pans. You don't have to use any. So even though the meat is really lean and it's a little bit sticky, use the pads of your hands and just be gentle. You don't have to squish it. It will form and cook. Cauliflower rice. Because cauliflower has great moisture content of its own, it cooks very quickly. So you don't need to cook it for long. A nice medium-high pan, unless you like it mushy. I don't like things mushy, so I always like to just finish.
These are perfect.
Any questions so far?
How many of these meatballs equal? How many ounces?
This is 8 ounces. So
8 ounces?
every dish that I'm going to prepare for you will have 8 ounces of protein and 2 cups of it. So broth, sugar-free broth, carb-free, sugar-free broth. And you guys here in California are really lucky because you have a lot of brands that are carb-free and sugar-free. I can tell you at home, much harder to obtain. So I get really excited when I find brands that will work. I do not recommend ever using bouillon cubes or items like Bovril or Knorr, any of those. And not just the carb and sugar count, but you really want to check the ingredient list because they have some really unsavory ingredients in the monosodium glutamate, lots of corn syrup, solids, those kind of things. So just right next door to the clinic here, there was good old chicken stock from Trader Joe's. And we're just going to simply use a 1/4 cup or a little bit more if you need to deglaze the pan. The nice thing about that is that it almost makes you a gravy as well. So if you are somebody who is a sauce person, then chicken broth and beef broth and even vegetable broth are fantastic for deglazing any type of pan and making you a little bit of gravy. If you are super stuck on texture and you need your gravy to be a tiny bit thicker, tiny little bit of gelatin can thicken that to make it a sauce without adding any carbs or sugar to it as well. Because sometimes texture is an issue also. So we're gonna start our tuna in this looks like a nonstick pan, so we're gonna go for it. We have, so the beautiful part, we did grocery school this morning, so this is a beautiful piece of ahi tuna. And the butcher can cut me exactly an 8-ounce piece of tuna. So for those of you who don't love to measure and weigh at home, your butcher can cut you the exact amount you need. So with all the protein sources that you're seeing today, he weighed them on the scale before he packaged them up for me so that I knew that every portion was 8 ounces. So a really nice, easy way to do that. So when you are working with lemon juice in phase 1, I like to keep measurements to about a tablespoon for them. Just based on lemon juice does have carbs. And they have about 1 carb per tablespoon. I do like natural seasoning, but track them in your journal and their use, because if you start using just a little bit too much, then it might affect your weight loss, and we want to track that. So mustard. There are tons of mustard that are phase 1 friendly, completely sugar-free. You're going to see most ingredients are going to be mustard seed, sometimes citric acid as a preservative. So it is a condiment that you don't have to count as a sweetener. So it's an excellent one. And you can measure if you feel the need to. A big lemon, about a 1/4 piece of a lemon, is going to be about a tablespoon. I actually want to I just want to show you what a 1/4 of a large lemon looks like. So if I was going to pour this into here, which I'm just going to do for posterity's sake, it's really close to a full tablespoon.
Wow.
So the more you shop and the more you cook from scratch, then once you do a few measurements over and over and over, you're going to get faster and more comfortable in your kitchen. And then you're going to know that, yeah, a 1/4 of that large lemon is a tablespoon. The same thing with when you're measuring spices. So at home, I never measure anymore. I'm a free pourer, but when I write a recipe, I have to go back and measure and do trials because I'm a free pourer. So I will measure this though. Excuse my reach. Okay, so we're going to just heat our cauliflower rice really quick. Here's another tip. I am not going to add oil to all these dishes for you to taste today, just because even though you're only having taste, it's not necessary. If you love the olive oil taste, you can fry your rice in it, or you can put it in your pan, or you can put it directly in any of your ingredients, or just drizzle over top after. So if you forget about him, there's not a wrong way to use it. I do prefer not to add high heat to olive oil if you're going to cook with oil. I prefer grapeseed oil. It has a higher smoke point. It doesn't break down as fast. But for drizzling over salads and veggies or as a finishing, there's such a wide variety of fantastic olive oils. So we're going to serve our Southwest meatballs over our cauliflower rice. And I'm literally just going to plunk them in there. I'm going to back off a bit on this spice. But again, here's your pre-made spice that you made. You can simply just sprinkle it over your rice. So how many of you love rice pilafs traditionally in restaurants with your fancy meals? So when you have cauliflower rice, the spice blends that you use in your protein, or think of simple parsley, green onions, any type of fresh herb. So if you're making Thai dishes, think of all your options of fresh basils that you can put in your cauliflower rice to jazz it up. As soon as it starts to get a little bit soft and release its liquid, I like to take it out because I like a little bit firmer texture to my rice. However, if you like, it's a texture thing for me. I don't like mushy anything. There's not a right or wrong on cauliflower rice. I know a lot of folks, they prepare cauliflower rice in their microwaves. I think that just a couple minutes in a pan is a much better option. This one doesn't have a lot of fantastic pretty color in it, but it is your 8 ounces and 2 cups of vegetables. While we were making this one, you could have 4 servings of that in the oven. So 1 for supper and 3 more to the fridge or freezer or for supper tomorrow. So also depending on what your taste buds are like, I don't mind eating the same meal a couple days in a row. Others do.
So this is 8 ounces of lean protein and 2 cups of vegetables.
Yes.
Bon appetit.
If you do freeze it, what is your recommendation for how do you reheat it?
So you could throw it right back in the skillet for reheating, or just in an oven-safe casserole dish.
Delicious. Yeah. Cauliflower and meatballs.
Now, so for our tuna, I have to tell you the truth too. I was supposed to serve it with green beans, but I forgot the green beans. So you're gonna get it with a little bit of snow peas and cauliflower rice. So sorry about the cauliflower rice. We're gonna get a little bit of a cauliflower rice theme here today as well. So now tuna is a really interesting. There are so many recipes for tuna online. There are so many cooking instructions for tuna online. And one of the biggest tips about tuna is they tell us not to overcook it.
Right.
However, my fish cannot be cold in the middle. So there's a lot of recipes out there that will come up and say, 1.5 minutes per side or 2 minutes per side. I find that for my taste buds, I need to double it. If you like super rare tuna, awesome, go for it. There's not a right or wrong. And all that's happening on here is a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of mustard, and some pepper.
Sure.
And I wait to put it on until the side is seared. Versus otherwise, if you put your glaze or your topping or whatever you're doing on before you cook it, you're just essentially cooking it off. It doesn't stay. So you can even finish searing both sides of your fish and then simply brush it on when you're done also. So for those lovely green beans, I would have made a very similar sauce because we're just kind of keeping everything really simple and together, the flavors together. The only difference is we are going to add 1 tablespoon of Bragg's aminos to our lemon, garlic, and mustard. And it's that simple. And you can add a little bit of more pepper if you like. So what we're going to do here in just a couple more minutes, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just quickly saute our vegetables to finish and then serve it hot. When you're doing multiple meals like this, you just let them cool before you put them in the freezer. You can stir fry veggies in a non-stick pan. You don't need any oil to stir fry vegetables at all. Good quality pans are a little more important than oil. So this rice, I'm actually going to get a little bit softer because I'm going to pour a little bit of our sauce over it. We're going to just try it in different ways, and then you guys can let me know what you liked. So Bragg's aminos are like soy sauce, except the wonderful thing about them is that there's no soy and there's no sugar and carbs in them. So you can use them as an allowable condiment and not have to worry about soy or carbs. Another one that is great in your cooking lineup is Bragg's apple cider vinegar. So the great things about Bragg's is they all have the same yellow label and the products. And so this is really awesome. So if you were to use traditional soy sauce, one, it has soy in, and that's an ingredient that a lot of people are trying to avoid in their diet. Two, once you're in maintenance, some are watching the sodium. So it's typically soy sauce is high sodium. And lots of them have carbs and sugar and yeast in them. And so those are just things that we're trying to stay away from. So as in Renee's words, it's super yummy. It really is. It really trades straight across in the place of soy sauce. So I use it quite a bit. And then I don't have to worry about any, when my clients use a tablespoon of this per day, I don't have to worry that their add-ons are too many because of course we have to journal and count everything. So it's just a cleaner, just a cleaner product.
So Dee, I have another question.
Yes.
So if I've in the past always bought the Trader Joe's pre-grated cauliflower rice, and
I'll take the plates away.
tasting now the grated cauliflower rice that you did was much better. So if I was to do a meal prep on say a Sunday, if I was to grate however many heads of cauliflower, how would I store it? How long would it last for so I can use during the week?
So once cauliflower is grated, it will start to break down. So it's best to put it in food safe containers or bags. Remove as much air as possible, and I would actually pop them in the freezer. They'll be good. They'll be good in the fridge for a couple of days, but once it's grated, it won't make a week. The water starts to release and break down. But you can freeze cauliflower rice, and especially for the recipes that you're going to reheat and stir fry. It does, yeah. And so when we did our little bit of grocery shopping this morning, one thing that I like to talk about of whole heads of cauliflower, there's nothing wrong with buying pre-grated cauliflower because it's quick and it's easy and it makes it easy for you. But one lovely head of cauliflower usually yields at least 4 cups of cauliflower rice. How many cups did we get out of that one?
Oh, 3, 4?
Over.
Obviously,
We have over 4. We have 4.
I still have a little.
Yeah, 4 in a bit. I love my box grater. Love it to pieces because it has the large side and the fine side. And cauliflower rice, I like the fine side. I like fine grated cauliflower. I like that texture better than having big chunks. So again, it's just really one of those personal, choices. So the next one we're gonna do is called orange chicken. And this one is so easy. Your steps are, I'm gonna make a marinade. And the instructions are there, and you're going to marinate your chicken in half, and you're going to retain the other half for your finishing sauce. So the chicken that you marinated in, now you guys, this has only been marinating for a little while, so typically I would let it marinate overnight before I made these kind of recipes, because it really does help to infuse the flavor. So I am actually instead of going and draining the marinade out, I'm just going to put them out and put the chicken in the pan. The awesome thing about this one is this is a really big pan. So while my chicken, I like to cut them in smaller strips so that they cook really quickly. And then my broccoli on the other side can cook tender. And so it is super, so you've already done all the prep. So the rest of the cooking time, it makes it really, really, really fast. When you're going to do meal prep or big cooks, just take them out of the freezer and place them in the fridge so that they can thaw naturally. When you have to defrost meat in a microwave, it just never turns out as well. These guys, you're just gonna cook to the level of crispness that you want. So myself, I'm gonna wait for them to turn bright green, and I'm gonna pull the plug on them because I don't like when they turn to the color of, what color am I thinking of? It's kind of gray green. Once our chicken is cooked through, and it's not gonna take long because we cut the pieces nice and small, and our broccoli is turning already nice and tender crisp, we're gonna take the rest of our marinade, and we're simply just going to pour it over the whole works and heat through, you're done. That's how fast that is. So this is the rest of the marinade. And then we're simply just going to give it a pour. And it's gonna cook down really fast. And you can add as much marinade or as little as you want. It's not going to make a really thick sauce, but again, if you are going to have this over cauliflower rice, that marinade is gonna soak into your cauliflower rice, or if you wanted a thick sauce, this is a place where you could sprinkle a little bit of gelatin and it will thicken it up. There we go.
Perfect.
To the
That?
chicken.
Yes.
So the next one that we're gonna do is chicken satay. This is an example of how if you were cooking for your family and you were building a marinade, you can build a phase 4 marinade and you can build a phase 1 marinade for your family. So your family could have real whole peanut butter and you could have Walden Farms. And then when you phase out, you can enjoy the same peanut butter. The difference will be your whole food peanut butter is just going to have a richer, it's going to have richer flavor. These guys were marinated as well. Your list is there, and then I'm going to make our peanut sauce fresh. Okay. So for traditional chicken satay, you could also make a coconut cauliflower rice. Now I did not bring my coconut sugar-free Da Vinci in my suitcase. We probably could have got some, but if it's not something you use on a regular basis, it's not necessary. But so what we're going to do here again, this is what 2 cups of rice cauliflower looks like on a fine grate. If you wanted coconut cauliflower rice, you could use a little bit of real coconut extract right in this rice, or you could use sugar-free coconut Da Vinci for that little bit of flavor. The chicken is pretty much cooked through.
It is, yes.
And then you simply just whisk your peanut sauce over top.
Hello.
Okay, and this one's gonna cook really fast. And butter it.
There's cauliflower rice.
There you go.
So if you have favorite recipes from any kind of local restaurant, so whether it's Italian or Indian, or if you have a favorite Thai place, but no matter what, you can recreate those recipes.
So I am a D fan, and I'm so excited to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
So,
Thank you.
The thing about these recipes that have been so key in my journey have been that I haven't been deprived of anything. And so the baked goods, making the muffins, and actually the biggest treat of all this last Thanksgiving was making a full Thanksgiving with the stuffing, with the gravy. It was incredible. I mean, my family was choosing my kind of side instead of just whatever we got at everything else. And so
That's so awesome.
it has been such a treat to have so many options and really it being so easy. And with this just being a lifestyle, I just love all the different choices and I love everything that you do.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, and I'm so glad.
So let's just talk for a minute because Tiffany has lost 30 pounds and been keeping it off since.
December of 2000 and it's been a whole year.
Nice. Congratulations.
All
Thank
right.
you. for
That's
making-
awesome. We are going to. So this one is going to be our pad thai shrimp. Takes again, it's another fast recipe. We are going to just brown a little bit of garlic and ginger root in our pan,
This is my plate.
and I'm gonna add that in there. We're going to add our shrimp, and you can leave your shell on when you're cooking shrimp. The juices will stick to the shell. You don't have to. Get a little onion in there. The shell can be on or off, so just whatever you prefer. Now, when we went shopping, we did a grocery tour earlier this morning.
Awesome.
And thank you. And we talked about wild caught versus farmed fish. And so, of course, we're always going to recommend that you buy wild caught or whole caught or, more. We want to steer you away from farmed fish, and we want you to never buy tilapia. They are bottom feeders. It's a low quality choice of fish. So I'm going to let you do your own research on that because I don't want to tell you that you can or can't eat them. But I just wouldn't recommend them.
Qualify what goes in,
Right.
right?
Right. So as soon as your garlic starts to get nice and fragrant, it doesn't take long. You can let's smear that around for me just a little bit, and then we're going to just simply put our shrimps, and you're going to cook them. Now, these I bought nice big shrimp. It's going to be easy sampling or to get a nice big shrimp. And you're just going to cook them until both sides are opaque. It usually takes only about a couple minutes per side. To be where once your shrimp are opaque, we're going to remove them from the pan, set them aside for just a minute, and continue on making our dressing for the pad thai. Now, one thing about this one too, if you don't like heat, don't add the heat. If you love the heat, so this is almost like where you can be your own restaurant and you can put 1 chili pepper, 2 chili pepper, or 3 chili pepper. I'm actually using about 6 ounces of shrimp, and the reason why is I am going to use an egg in my pad thai. So we want to make sure that we're counting our protein and not overdoing it. Yeah, you get them nice and pink on both sides. Now, if you overcook shrimp, what happens to them?
It is
What happens?
They're rubbery.
Rubber. Yeah, they are
I know.
rubbery.
I've done that.
That's where the rubber hits the road.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Or the trash can.
Trash can.
Yep. So that is another great thing actually about shell on shrimp. It can help you to not overcook really quick. Or if you were going to make this recipe with cooked shrimp, you're simply actually going to do your oil and ginger and garlic step. You're going to totally leave your and you're going to pour that oil and garlic and ginger over your cooked shrimp. Then you're going to cook your egg, and then you're going to get your veggies, and then you'll just put the shrimp back in after. So you can do it with cooked shrimp as well, just to save time. Remove those guys. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just stir fry an egg. And once he's cooked through, we're going to leave him in there. And
So
then we're
again, this would be one meal. Everything you're doing.
everything is one meal. Yeah. Now again, every recipe that you see can be double, triple, Yeah, bust them up. Quadrupled for a fast. And so one of the things when you're doing a big cook too, maybe you don't want to make a bunch of different recipes. Maybe you just want to pick 2 recipes and make a whole bunch of them and get them into the freezer. Maybe you have a few favorites, so you don't have to feel like you need to do 7 different recipes, or maybe you want to make some awesome soup and a choice of protein and then have 7 soup containers, 7, I always say 7, you only do 7, if you have 4 people in your family or 2 people in your family. What's great about that too, most of us have busy lives, most of us have kids or jobs or, careers that take us on the go. So if you're on the road, you can leave good meals in the freezer for your family and not have to worry about what they're going to eat. So pad thai would be an excellent recipe to use your zero konjac noodles or shirataki noodles, yam root noodles. There's a 0-carb oat root fiber noodle. So there's many out there in the land of 0 carbs. Always talk to your coach first. They may not want you to use them, and just respect that. Great option for phase 4 though. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw our shrimp back in. I know that was short and sweet. And shrimp in. And then we are actually going to throw, our bean sprouts. We have some cilantro. We have some colored peppers. And what we're going to do today instead, we're going to serve them over our zucchini noodles. And we can actually, because we're just going to do a quick feed through on these vegetables and put the rest of our marinade over.
Wow, this is one meal.
1 meal.
How satisfying is this?
That is one.
Y'all should come see it.
It's
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we're just going to give our veggies, thank you dear, we're just going to give our veggies just a couple minutes to heat through. And then we're going to actually put our marinade over to finish.
I know.
The beautiful thing about pad thais are you can really control your marinade, your sauce, like what you want on it. So it's really an individual taste preference. So I'm going to go ahead because I don't really like wilty vegetables. And there's our marinade. And I just want a little tame on it because I don't want to offend anybody's taste buds.
For your
Not like clean.
Yeah, does it show?
That's crazy.
All right, so this one that we're doing up here is the sweet chili stir fry, and this one is beyond simple. So you take your favorite lean cut of beef, and it can be anything. So talk to your butcher. If you buy a really inexpensive cut of lean beef, ask your butcher how to prepare it. He will have great tips. So we are just simply stir frying our beef. You can do it medium rare, done. That looks good. It looks done. But what we're actually going to do is I should have had the veggies in the pan a little bit earlier. We're going to tender crisp those veggies. We are going to throw our beef in with the veggies, and we're going to heat through our marinade. It's done. That is it. That is how simple that one is. So on your sweet chili stir fry, this is another one. I did, lots of the dishes that I did today do have a little bit of heat in them, but I did this on purpose because I'm basically showing you similar, different recipes.
Yeah.
And on another time, I would pick a different set of spices, more savory, say, pick some Italian, blends and go that way. The really neat thing about all the kind of spices that we're using today, they cover a lot of ethnic cooking, which I find is really interesting. When you start studying spices and food backgrounds and where they come from, some will say Eastern Europe, but then it's also Mediterranean and Indian. And okay, so then where did it actually come from? Because all these different cultures are really using similar spices. Well, another reason for showing recipes that have 2 complete cups of vegetables and 8 ounces is to show you, so when dieters are hungry, if you're a hungry dieter, you know, you can split that in half and you can eat half of that for lunch and you can eat the other half for supper.
That's what I do. Yeah.
So colorful.
Because it's so
So
much.
pretty.
Smells
pretty.
so good.
More packaging and amazing.
Love, it's really good.
Baby's up.
On our last, we're on our last recipe. It is shrimp scampi, and this one we're gonna use a little bit of broth as well. You can measure yours. I'm not going to. Yes, thank you.
Mommy.
Are you okay with that? So I want to introduce you guys to a very special client of mine. She came to me several years ago, and she lost 120 pounds.
Wow.
In 13 months, and she's been keeping it off. We're at 3 years now, right?
Wow.
Life changing, you guys. All
crazy.
right, so tell us what this last plate was that I was so busy talking through.
This is a phase 1 shrimp scampi.
So I love that Carol does this.
Yes.
So meal prep, start with your favorite ingredients. Make it simple. You know, start by practicing. If you're not super comfortable in the kitchen, start with 1 recipe, make a few days worth, go from there, or pick 2. No matter what stage on the journey you're on, whether you're just starting or you're done or you have a long way to go, focus on whole foods right from day 1. Try new spices. If you don't know what you like, try things. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, but I found the tiniest little boxes of pre-done spices.
Yeah.
They're the bomb. So you don't
Yeah.
have to maybe commit, you know, to a jar this size if you're not sure that you're going to like it. So
Of cayenne pepper.
I love cayenne. Yeah, so you can just back off or omit it in recipes that you see it in if it's a little too much for you. It's my favorite heat. The reason why is because it takes just such a little tiny bit.
Like a tap.
Yeah, like a tap.
Yeah.
Tap, tap. Not a, don't do this. You'll be skipping it up. But yeah, start simple. If you need help, ask questions. And
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thank all the coaches. Thank my lovely clients for coming.
thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.